Namaskar learners. On behalf of School of Vocational Education and Training, I, Urshla Kant, welcome you all to this session on course MSCI 026, Block 1, Unit 1, Introduction to Risk Analysis of the program Master of Science in Information Security, that is MSCIS, and also the Postgraduate Diploma in Information Security, that is PGDIS. Before going to the course MSCI 026, I will focus on three important things. Number one, the study material of this program. The soft copy of self-learning material is already available on our eGyan course on IGNOU's website, and this self-learning material has been written by our well-known experts, and the language is very simple and teacher is inbuilt. So you can read the study material on your own. Second, assignments. That is very compulsory component. The assignments for July 2023 are already available on IGNOU's website. You need to download them and write these by your own words and by your own hand and send these to your concerned regional center or study center by 31st October 2023. It is compulsory to submit these assignments. Then only you can appear in term end exams. Then number 3 is term end exam form. The term end exam form for December 2023 exams will be available by tomorrow on IGNOU's website. You need to fill the term end exam form for theory as well as practical exam. For example, if we can take this course MSCI 026, you need to fill the courses MSCI 026 for term end theory and MSCI 026P for term end practical exam. So you have to keep in mind all these three things, very important, these three things. Now we will discuss to our topic, that is Introduction to Risk Analysis. In your screen you must be seeing that there is a diagram in which we are telling you about the risk analysis, in which we can identify all the risk, and then the next step is risk assessment, and then positive action to control it. So this is the simple words we can say, this is the risk analysis. So this risk analysis comes under unit 1 of block 1, that is risk analysis. Here there are 4 units. The first unit is Introduction to Risk Analysis. The second unit, Risk Assessment. The third unit is Risk Analysis Techniques and Methodologies. And the fourth unit is risk mitigation. So today we will discuss the first unit, that is Introduction to Risk Analysis. This unit is structured in a very simple way. First of all, the objectives have been described. Then we have described what is risk analysis. Then we have given the brief history of risk analysis, the mission, risk concepts, and all the definition we have given in a very simple language in the self-learning material. And then we have described why risk analysis is done, what is the difference between risk and opportunity, we have discussed in detail. Then we have discussed the purpose of risk analysis. That is very important to know that what is the purpose of risk analysis. Then we have discussed how to determine the assumptions that are acceptable or required, and also we have given the time and timings. Then we have discussed project risk. What is project risk? Then we have given the details about the types of risk analysis, which are quantitative risk analysis, and second is qualitative risk analysis. Then we have given performing a risk analysis, how we perform risk analysis in total. That first of all we gather information, then we analyze the data, and then we create a plan to monitor and control risk. Then we have discussed about elements of risk analysis. This is very, very important as per point of view of exam. You should know what are the elements of risk analysis. Then we have discussed in the unit importance of risk analysis, in which we have described how to identify the project steps, how to identify the potential threats. This is very, very important to know. And then thirdly, how to estimate the level of risk. This is very, very important. Then we have given the risk analysis techniques, that what are the techniques which we can use for performing the risk analysis. Then when to conduct risk analysis, we have described this also, that what is the right time and when we should conduct the risk analysis in a proper way. Then sample risk analysis, we have given the sample also, that how we can analyze the risk. The whole sample is there in your self-learning material, and as I already told you, the language is very, very simple and the topic is also very interesting. So you will find very, very interest in that while learning the study material. Then we have given there are questions also we have given in this unit. So lastly we have given the answers to those questions, and then we have given the suggested readings, that what further books you can read about this topic, the risk analysis. So this is about the unit. Now I am coming to the learning outcomes, that what are the learning outcomes of this unit. This is very, very important, that after studying this unit, you should be able to explain and define what is risk analysis. This is very, very important. Then explain the importance of risk analysis, that what extent it is important. Then you can explain the types of risk analysis. You can perform the risk analysis. How to conduct risk analysis, that is our learning outcome. And also describe the golden rules of risk analysis. In this unit, we will focus towards answering some of the fundamental queries about risk analysis. This risk analysis process is an important aspect of business recovery planning. As you already know that what is business recovery planning, this is BRP. The BRP, the full form is business recovery planning. So you should know the probability of a disaster occurring in an organization is highly uncertain. So that is risk. You must have heard what is risk. So organization should also develop written, comprehensive business recovery plans which address all the critical operations and functions of the business. So to safeguard our business, we should know what we can use the business recovery plans, so that to minimize the risk. As I already told you, this plan should include documented and tested procedures, which if followed will ensure that the ongoing availability of critical resources and continuity of operations. A business recovery plan, that is BRP, is similar to liability insurance only. So this is very, very simple to learn. As you are watching in your screen, that we have given the bar diagram into that what is the process for risk analysis. So number one is the identification of risk. This is the first step. Then second is analyzing the risk, that how to analyze that risk. This is the second step. The third step is to evaluating the risk. We should know how to evaluate that risk. That is very, very important. Then fourth step is treat the risk. And then fifth step is review the risk. This is the fifth and last step, that review the risk. So these 5 steps are very, very important, and we will sum up by this, that after going through these 5 steps, that risk analysis is the process of systematically identifying and assessing the potential risk and uncertainties which occur when trying to achieve a certain goal, and then finding a feasible strategy for most efficiently controlling those risks. So this is very, very simple language we have described that what is risk analysis. This risk analysis also refers to the evaluation. This is the main part of risk analysis. As you know, evaluation in our learning also, we should know that evaluation is the main step. By this we can learn that what are the learning outcomes we have achieved. So this evaluation is also very important in risk analysis also. So risk analysis also refers to the evaluation of the potential risk which is inherent in an upcoming transaction, and the identification of several different options in how to proceed further. So this evaluation you should keep in mind that while evaluating you should be aware that what are the steps we should take to avoid the risk. These options are designed to minimize the risk, because our aim is to minimize the risk while obtaining the most benefit, or at least finding ways to protect you while taking the risk. So we should know how to evaluate that risk so that that risk can be avoided. As you know, in the business world, risk analysis is one of the primary tools which is used in the process of risk management. Within this setting, the business looks at how various operations, campaigns, and expansions are likely to impact the financial stability of the company. When the risk analysis indicates that all or most of the factors are favorable, the company moves forward with the product launching. Then only product can launch if the company thought that all the factors are favorable. So we should keep in mind that the company moves with that program launching only in that condition. When it comes to growing the business, risk analysis is an important part of any constructive business planning. As we have already discussed that BCP, Business Recovery Planning, this business assessment is also includes understanding both the risk of maintaining the company in its current state as well as the determining the what could happen if new policies and procedures or product lines were introduced into the corporate culture. So we should aware that what will happen after introducing new policies and procedures so that we can minimize the risk. Now we are coming to the definition which is given by the experts, that risk analysis is systematic use of available information to identify hazards and to estimate the risk to individuals or populations, property or the environment. This is a systematic approach for describing and calculating the risk. This risk analysis involves the identification of undesired events, which we can say accidental events also, and the causes and consequences of these events. So this is very, very simple to understand that what is risk analysis. Now I am coming to the risk estimation. This is also very, very important terminology while doing the risk analysis, that how to estimate that what extent the risk is. So this is the process which is used to produce a measure of the level of health, property or environmental risk which is being analyzed. This risk estimation is having 3 steps. Number 1, frequency analysis. This is very, very important. The first step, frequency analysis, that what is the frequency of the risk which we should analyze it. Then second is consequence analysis, that what will be the consequence. And then the third is their integration. This is the 3 steps while doing the risk estimation during the risk analysis. This risk analysis is the use of available information to estimate the risk to individuals or population or property from hazards. This risk analysis is having 3 steps, as we have discussed in the beginning, the title of this thing. So first is scope definition, that what is the definition of that scope of the risk. Second is hazard identification, that what is the hazard and how to identify it. And third is risk estimation, how we can estimate that risk. So these are the 3 steps which we have to learn. Now the most important thing is risk evaluation. As I already told you that evaluation is very, very important in every stage while learning also, and in every doing, its evaluation is important. The stage at which values and judgment enter the decision process by including consideration of the importance of the estimated risk and the associated social, environmental and economic consequences in order to identify a range of alternatives for managing the risk. This is the risk evaluation. Then risk assessment, it is the process of risk analysis and risk evaluation. When we are summing up the risk analysis and risk evaluation, that will become the risk assessment. Then the risk control. We should know how to control that risk and what treatment we should use to control that risk. So this is the process of decision making for managing the risk and the implementation or enforcement of risk mitigation measures and the re-evaluation of its effectiveness from time to time, using the results of risk assessment as one input. So we should know that how to treat this risk through various mechanisms. This is risk control or risk treatment. And then risk management. It is a complete process which we have discussed before. It is a complete process of risk assessment and risk control. So we can say when risk assessment and risk control combines, it will become the risk management. Then we are coming to that why risk analysis is done. As you know, in business and in every organization, one faces having to make decisions with uncertain outcome all the time. So understanding the uncertainty which can help us make a much better decision. So risk analysis is done. We can explain with a very beautiful example that if imagine that you are a national health care provider, considering which of the 2 vaccines you have to purchase. The 2 vaccines have the same reported level of efficacy, we can say 60%, but further study reveals that there is a difference in confidence attached to these 2 performance measures. One is twice as uncertain as the other. All else being equal, the healthcare provider would purchase the vaccine with the smallest uncertainty about its performance, that is vaccine A. So, replace the vaccine by investment and efficacy by profit, and we have a problem in business for which the answer is the same. So, pick the investment with the smallest uncertainty, all else being equal, that is investment A. So, the principal problem is determining that uncertainty, which is the central focus of risk analysis. So, this is very well explained in this example, and we can think of two forms of uncertainty that we have to deal with in risk analysis. The first is the general sense that the quantity we are trying to estimate has some uncertainty attached to it, and then we have risk events, which are random events that may or may not occur and for which there is some impact of interest to us. So, this is a very, very simple example of risk analysis. Then we are coming to the purpose of risk analysis. That what is the purpose of risk analysis? The purpose of risk analysis is to provide information to help make better decision in an uncertain world. A decision maker has to work with the risk analyst to precisely define the questions that needs answering, that you should consider a number of things, that you should rank the questions that need answering from critical down to interesting, then discuss with the risk analyst the form of the answer, explain what arguments will be based on these outputs, and explain whether the risk analysis has to sit within a framework, explain the target audience, discuss any possible hostile reactions, figure out a timeline, and also figure out the priority level, decide on how regularly the decision maker and risk analyst will meet. In order to plan a risk analysis properly, you should need to answer few questions, that what do you want to know and why, what assumptions are acceptable, what is the timing, and who is going to do the risk analysis. So, this is well explained in our study material. Now, I am coming to the what is the difference between the risk and opportunity. As you are looking at in your screen, that a risk is an event which may possibly occur, and if it did occur, would have a negative impact on the goals of the organization. Therefore, a risk is composed of three elements. Number 1, the scenario. Number 2, its probability of occurrence. And number 3 is the size of its impact if it did occur. It may be either a fixed value or a distribution. So, these are the three elements of risk. Now, what is opportunity? The opportunity is an event that may possibly occur, and if it did occur, would have a positive impact on the goals of the organization. Therefore, an opportunity is composer of the same three elements as the risk, which we have discussed before. Then we are coming to the types of risk analysis. Here we have two types of risk analysis, quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative risk analysis provides a quantitative estimate of the risk posed as well as enabling the risk mitigation methods to be evaluated so that risk can be reduced to acceptable levels. So, this is the quantitative risk analysis. Now, I am coming to the qualitative risk analysis. That is the second type of risk analysis, qualitative. Earlier we have discussed quantitative. This is qualitative. The qualitative, as the name suggests, it improves the awareness of information system security problems and posture of the system being analyzed. it is a process of prioritizing the risk for further analysis or action by assessing and combining their probability of occurrence and impact. So this is the qualitative risk analysis. In exam, you should, sometimes the question comes about this, that what is the difference between quantitative and qualitative risk analysis. Now, you can see in your screen that the risk assessment process, that first of all, we should identify the risk, then analyze the risk, and then assess the risk by assessment process, which we have called risk assessment. Then we will prioritize the risk, okay, what are the priorities of that risk, and then we can see the mechanisms for risk control so that we can control that risk. So these are the 5 steps of risk assessment process, which is well explained in this diagram. Now the question about the hazard identification, in which we have to be very careful while doing the hazard identification. We have to see the risk communication, we have to see the risk assessment, which is unknown until actually assessed. So we should be very, very careful, and we should also know the risk management, that what if we can, how to manage the risk. So these all steps we should be very, very careful while identifying the hazard. So this diagram is very, very important for explaining the how to identify the hazard while doing risk communication, risk assessment, and risk management. So thank you, learners, and today we have discussed about this MSCI 026 Block 1 Unit 1. I hope you have enjoyed this session, and if you have any further queries, you can write an email to our email ID, that is mscis@ignou.ac.in. Thank you so much.